Welcome. Thank you, Severine, for joining me today, and thank you for the viewers for tuning in. As you might know, if you are a corporate partner of Refugee Talent Hub, we organize monthly employer sessions to share knowledge and experience within our network. And to share the knowledge that we gain more widely, we are recording these short Q&As. We just wrapped up today's session and we discussed the impact of AI on organizations and the opportunities and risk it brings to hiring and supporting colleagues with a refugee background. Our guest today is Severine Zaslavsky, Vice President, Head of Product Development at Manpower Group, if I say it correctly. Thank you for joining, Severine.
Oh, thank you, Dennis. Yes, thank you for having me. It's been a fun morning.
So let's just dive in with the first question, which is why is it important for employers to start thinking about the role of AI in hiring and supporting newcomers?
So it is important for employers because AI can actually give us an opportunity to do things better than they are today, and for sure faster. In the role of recruitment, for example, we think that AI will have possibly an impact in lowering the time that we spend on administrative tasks. And actually, AI can do those administrative tasks better than humans. Now, the key here for me is what is important the message to remember is that what we're going to take away is tasks that are repetitive and not necessarily done well today, and replace this with agentic AI, for example, in the process of recruitment and onboarding. However, what is important to remember, and which is really something that we put in place at Manpower Group, is that to utilize the time that is gained to better accompany future employees in their journey. So it's people are usually very much, we know this by speaking to them, by surveying them, very lost in the process of applying for a job. And a lot of people continue to talk about a black hole. They don't know, where the information went, what happened. So having an accompaniment through this, whether it's with a little bit of AI, but certainly more a human approach, in discussing the preferences, in understanding what's next, in motivating people as well, representing people is very important. So that's sort of like, that's where I see the main benefits of AI, and why employers should definitely embrace this, those new tools.
To summarize, AI is incredibly efficient at reducing repetitive tasks, which frees up your team. Second, this efficiency allows you to free up time for more meaningful personal guidance for candidates and new hires. And finally, AI can actually enhance the overall experience of new employees and candidates, making the hiring process smoother and more engaging. What I noticed and also noticed in the sessions that AI is a big topic, but sometimes there can be also misconceptions about what AI can bring nowadays. What would you see as the biggest misconception that employers have about AI? And well, let's talk about the recruitment side of it.
Okay, so well, the where we need to have a clear clarity. The debate right now on recruitment and AI is whether AI can be fair, and whether AI can be ethical. And the discussions are really needs to be almost like separated. It's that we do need to, so the first one on fairness, the question is, what is the benchmark? What are we fair today? Is the principle having humans interfering with the interview process fair to everybody? And the answer is that, if we look back into the research, the answer is that no. Interviewing processes, which right now is used in 90% of the hiring decision, is not fair. And there are plenty of research, academic research, very serious proof points that shows that actually they are very poor predictor, that interviewing, especially unstructured interviewing, doesn't necessarily lead to a good prediction of somebody's performance in the future. So that aspect of it doesn't mean that we should need to replace interviewing with AI, because AI is going to learn from our bad practices. So if we teach AI utilizing the principle that we have today, AI is going to have exactly the same results, except worse, because it will do it at scale. And so we don't want to do this. So what we need to do is really utilize AI to actually start capturing more signals, fair signals, and actually be based perhaps on tools that are that have been developed for that effect and will not have the bias that humans have. So by those tools, I mean, on one hand, maybe utilizing psychometric assessments that have been developed to that effect, that have been tested against several populations to eliminate those impression of bias. Those assessments are also looking beyond the hard skills into really soft skills. And beyond the psychometric assessments, to look at other signals that people display. And this is where the ethical part of it comes in, is that if people who are going through a process of recruitment are being told what we're being, what are the signals that we're going to be looking at, then there's a transparency, and then I think that there will be a principle of fairness, giving us way more data point to make a decision on terms of like, is this person fit for the job, but is also this person fit for the environment that we are going to put this person in. And yes, this person is going to not only take on the job, perform the job, but stay in the job, and then really be able to start a career out of that.
As Severine explained, the first major risk is that AI can mirror existing human biases. The technology learns from the data we feed it. So if the data reflects existing unfair hiring practices, the AI will simply automate and amplify those same biases. To counter this, structured, fair assessments are essential, like psychometric testing that has been proven to be less biased than traditional, unstructured interviews. At last, transparency improves outcomes for everyone. Being clear with candidates about what data is being used and how decisions are made is crucial for building trust and ensuring a good job fit and a successful workplace integration. Like, how can AI help employers to recognize the talents of people with a refugee background, especially when diplomas and or work experience are hard to compare?
Okay, so that is so this is really about the rise of language models that allow us to really establish far better structure of data or taxonomy of data, so that we can start normalizing equivalencies. So that's on one hand, this is sort of like probably the best use. 10 years ago, we had even at the European, EU level, we had very few ideas of what were we asking for. Let's take nursing, for example. This is a job that is really critical. There's scarcity of nurses in Europe and around the world, and we need more and more of them, and we're not, forming enough of them. So 10 years ago, we had no idea. A nurse who came in with a certification or a diploma in France, how were they different from somebody, a nurse coming with a diploma in the UK? So that was just like, we couldn't necessarily establish whether those diplomas were equivalent. Well, now, AI allows us to get into far more database in so many languages, that we don't control. And it can look in terms of, like, for example, the curriculum, what classes are they taking, what exams, what were the questions of the exams, so AI can process a lot more data and read through, so that we can more easily normalize and say, somebody who has a diploma of nurse has spent so many years learning biology. This is a class that they have learned. The exams were asking those types of questions. The exams were under those conditions. So you can really start thinking in terms of like, maybe you're not going to give a diploma and an equivalency immediately, but you can say that somebody who comes from a background and has gone through nursing studies, you can start establishing, maybe they can go into taking the exam a little faster, because we know that they've already know that. And it's a question of learning the language or something like that. So you can shorten a lot the path to success into the job that people were already trained for as an example of it. So that's one aspect of it. The other thing is around the language, and I really think that AI is going to help us in making learning a language a lot easier, because by now you can have a full conversation in any language that you choose with your phone. So you have plenty of opportunity to practice. You can also sort of like, launch yourself, have some reminders, make the language learning part of your day. So there is plenty of opportunities on that side as well.
Wow. Like, it has a lot of potential, I would say. But what are the risk sides of it? Like, this sounds very promising.
Always.
What's the downside of it?
All right. So we need to look into, so as I said, when it comes down to access to viable career paths, my first and foremost, we need to be very careful in terms of like the data that we utilize to assess somebody, and making sure always that we have a governance and that we understand what's feeding the algorithms that are going, no matter what we're trying to do, whether we're trying to assess the skills, whether we're trying to make some decisions. It's just like we need to be very clear and understand the tools that we are buying, and understanding what's the input, what's the data that comes in, and how do we want the outcome to, what's the outcome, and making sure that there is fairness and principle. So that's point number one. In the area of learning and development and language in particular, there has been some surveys and research that seems to indicate that yes, actually, it becomes easier to learn a new skills and learning a new language. But by the same token, the access to the information. So, for example, Google Translate was the one that was studied. The access to easy translation, automatic translation, is also making us a little bit more lazy about learning a new skill, that's a new language, because of the over-reliance on those tools. So this is what we need to pay attention as well, is that, sometimes we let AI do the work for us, and which means that in terms of we don't immerse ourselves into the situation, because AI can be sort of like protecting us as well. So this is something that we need to pay attention to on the learning languages side. In terms of learning new skills, I think that we as humans need to continue to focus on what is, understanding what's the concept of the job that we do in a greater situation. AI can take over some of the skills and some of the tasks that we do. But the question, it can also teach us on the job how to do the tasks. And so I think that as human, if we want to have what I call a sustainable path forward, we need to make sure that we continue to see our job within sort of like an entire chain of value, so that we know and we can control the AI and not have the AI control us. So that vision needs to come from the employers, where that's like we're very clear about what is it that we do, and at the end, what the organization as a whole is doing, what the economy as a whole is doing. So we need to sort of like develop analytical skills, but also just, plain sort of like understanding of the environment in which we live and work.
To summarize, AI is great at comparing qualifications and experience from different countries. It doesn't just look at the name of a certificate. It studies a huge amount of data on courses, subjects, and exams to find skills that match. It also really helps with learning a new language and settling in by offering tools for easy practice and daily use. All in all, this means AI can help get people into the right job faster by quickly checking their current skills and helping them sort out difficult paperwork and rules.
I think I can listen to you all day about this subject.
Be careful, it's dangerous. Listen to AI, not me.
Okay, then we will do one more question to wrap it up. If you could give employers just one piece of advice, what would they need to start doing differently tomorrow to turn AI into an opportunity rather than a risk?
It's all about understanding the now, and being clear about how are we adding value, and in the process of adding value, what are the processes that we have in place? Are the process that we have clean, and optimized, and then once we understand this, bringing AI to help us do the tasks that are more repetitive or that we can automate. But again, it's really we need to be very clear more than ever in terms of like, how do we add value? Each individual add value on the job, and then understanding, and then going from that before saying, oh yeah, AI is cool, for example, I'm going to bring a whole algorithm and is going to do things. Again, AI can only function with what we feed AI, and so if we feed the wrong thing, then something worse is going to come out of it, because AI is a lot better at us as processing. So if you that's the principle to look for.
Yeah. I think that's a great message to the employers, and also to end this Q&A. Thank you so much, Severine, for sharing your insights. And we hope this conversation also gives employers some practical guidance on using AI and get more insights. And for more resources and inspiration, and also this video, we will post it on our Knowledge Hub, the Kennisbank, on our website. So Severine, thank you. Maybe till next time, because I think you can learn us even more about this subject. So we will be in touch.
Always.
Thank you for your time, and see you soon, hopefully.
It's been a pleasure, and for me, this is like what you guys do is I'm very passionate. We need people. We need people of all background. Diversity is important, and so what you do is super important. And so if we can, combine our knowledge to get to a better place, then it will be great. Thank you very much.
I totally agree. Thank you. Bye bye.
To wrap up with the best advice for any employer just starting to use AI. Your first step should be to understand what really adds value before you automate. Don't just start automating everything. First, work out where your human team is truly essential. Secondly, you need to clearly find the basic, repetitive tasks that AI can easily take over. The jobs that AI can genuinely do much better and faster. And most importantly, always keep human control and watch over the process. We need to stay in charge of the big decisions for the organization, making sure we control the AI and it doesn't control us.